Shall we accept aggression in children? Shall we punish children? Or what shall we do with them? Hi, my name is Marion Hopfgartner. I'm an educationalist and author of 7 books on education and the founder of TLI Pedagogics, a philosophy of early childhood education. Today, I'd like to speak on the topic of aggressiveness in children. It happens, it's very natural that it happens that children are aggressive from time to time. There are different kind of behaviors in children, and let's walk you through the steps. Number 1, babies are not naturally and very rarely aggressive. So you don't see really a lot of aggression in babies. But then time moves and they become more and more aggressive. There's kind of a tip of the iceberg, you can say, which is reached at the age of 4, and then it starts to fade out slowly till the age of 10. If it doesn't normalize by the age of 10, then you really should look into consulting with an expert. Of course, you can always do it early if you feel the need for it. And especially then there might have been a situation in the approach of the child and assistance through this process that might need correction, and where you and the child can get some assistance on that way. Also, this is true for early childhood teachers. You are actually the person who is beside the child a lot during this period when aggression comes in, hypes up at the age of 4, and then goes down till the age of 8, latest 10. So let's speak about it. Let's speak about aggression, what's happening, what it is. So first, think about where it comes from. The word aggression comes from the Latin word ad gradi, we say in that, or aggredi. So what it means is to walk through something, or to take a step, to attempt, and also a step towards something. And in a more detailed way towards the emotion we are looking at, it means also to attack. So it is a kind of an emotional energy which is in the child. It is established in the child, and it becomes stronger, stronger, stronger till it reaches that tip, and then it fades out. This kind of emotional energy we call aggression is different. Some children have it stronger and some children have it less, but it is a natural process. It's actually a natural phase of development that we will have to face when we work with children at that age. So aggression as an emotional energy is kind of an energy that starts to come in. Like, let's say when a child moves into adolescence, a certain kind of energy comes in which hasn't been present before because of the change of hormones and all of that. So from birth to death, we also have this in menopause and all kind of these areas. Energies come in that cause also an accumulation or an activation of emotion that we are not really able to deal with from day one, so we have to learn how to deal with. So when we look at the young children, we have a combination of different things. Number 1, their cognitive abilities are not yet fully developed while this emotional energy comes in, very strong energies, emotional energies, and then children are not yet able to express this, what they feel. And also there's a lot of conflict around because they are not yet able to do things on their own, address things how they should be addressed. They just have not a full understanding of all of the surrounding, including what is inside of them. And so the first, a very important thing in all of this period is to help children to define, to understand, and to communicate this energy. And so that is a process, that is nothing that happens from today to tomorrow. So when you have a child which at the present moment is going through an aggressive period, you can't just stop that in one day with one action. It is really a process that the child is walking through, and our job is to walk them through, to be their guides, because we walked through this process already, and mentors and coaches, what actually kind of the role of parents and educators is helping children not just to get academic knowledge, but especially also to know how to handle life, how to handle their bodies, their emotions, and what is going on within. So you can take some steps in the guidance and the leading through this period that can help the children a lot in this period and through this time. Number one, bonding. Make very sure that you have a very strong, very good bond to the child, that the child trusts you, that you have a good relationship, and that you have a close attachment bonding to the child, so that when you say something, it has an impact. Because if the child doesn't bond, or if you don't bond with the child, connect with the child deeply, it could easily be that the child simply can't take your information or your assistance or your guidance, because it just isn't relying on you. It doesn't trust you enough. So this bonding helps the child to really trust you, to allow you also to guide along the way through periods where they're a little bit in their own chaotic state. So that is a very, very important part. Another very important part, the second one, is that you stay calm. Whenever you get very emotional, don't do this, or you go towards punishment and all of that, you create more energy in a system where there's already a lot of too much energy. So it doesn't help the situation. Normally what happens is that there's way more energy that needs to be released. So there's either more aggression or aggression towards weaker beings, younger children. So it's kind of a pressure cooker that has to release. So punishment is not really very helpful in this period. But what is very helpful, that you're there, that you're calm, that you're very observative. So also with teachers, educators, but also parents, during this period, you have to be very close on the side of the child. You need to give a clear information to the child that you are here, that you help through this period, but that you also need to take a little bit of more guidance than normally. So very important, number 3, you stop improper, harmful behavior. So whenever there's a dangerous behavior towards another child, towards oneself, or towards you, you stop it. That's really important. Don't allow it. Don't laugh on it. Don't hug on it. Simply don't allow it. Don't become angry, but just make sure that this doesn't happen and address the situation. Speak to the child, but stay calm. Say, I know you wanted to have this toy. He didn't give it to you and you haven't been happy with it, okay? But we do not need to hit the child. For example, you just explain the situation. You say, okay, this toy belongs to the child. Now we have to wait a little bit. Let us go find a different toy that you would like to play with, for example. So this is just one of the examples. So we try to be really helpful to the child, to understand the situation, to communicate the situation for them, and to help them also to think about what could I do with the energy. And it could also be that you just say, okay, jump, clap, take a pillow, throw it somewhere where no one is. So all of this kind of inputs you can give the child according to their age. So that helps them also a little bit better. So very important that you stay calm, you don't attach, don't become emotional. As soon as you start, don't do this, it's very bad, what did you do, why did you do this, all of that, it creates so much energy in the child that there's even more chaos, and there's no help how to solve this situation, that it's not very productive. So it's really very important. Another thing is be nurturing. I know it's a hard situation to do that. If you have, for example, as an educator, you have 15, 20 children, you are 2-3 people in a group, and you want to help the child, but you just don't have the time. You need to take the time. There's nothing more important in that age than help the children to understand what they are actually going through. This is one of the most important tasks in educators. It's not important that they know the color red or green or blue at the age of 4. They can know that at 6, they can know this at 2. It's good to know, it's important to know, don't misunderstand me, but that's not the important part that you play. The important part that you play is really to help the child to understand their own feelings, to communicate their own feelings, to be able to negotiate with another child, to be able to interact with other people and other children, to be able to express themselves. So all of this, when you help a child to learn all of this, their aggression goes down because they don't need it. Make clear structures inside of the child. See that you have a step-by-step approach. 1, what is the situation? 2, communicate the situation, clarify it, make it clear, crystal clear. Number 3, what action can we take? For example, do you want to ask if he shares the toy with you? Do you want to have a different toy? Do you want to wait a little bit? What do you want to do? Give them possible solutions. That's important. So it's always number 1, clarify the situation, communicate it. I see you want this toy. The toy has this other child. He had it before, or it belongs to him. So we can't just take it. So let's think what we can do. Clarify, communicate, address the feelings. I know you want it. I know you are angry that you can't have it. I can see you being sad because of that. Express the emotion. Number 3, give possible solutions. Okay, so that's very, very, very important. So be nurturers also. Stop dangerous behavior and make sure that the pressure is released. If the pressure stays, the situation stays dangerous for the surrounding and for the child. Because the more often the child repeats a behavior, the more common it becomes to the brain, and especially if it works when it hits another child and the other child goes away and gives the toy, the more often the brain makes that experience, the child, means the brain, the learning, the programming factor, tends to go back to this approach. So important to correct it also. So you be very close at the side, be very nurturing, be very interactive, and help the child through the process. So that is important. And be patient. Very, very important. I know it's a difficult situation, and we have to have a lot of talks with parents as educators when that happens, because I just had last week a situation that a father dropped his child, his girl, his baby girl, his favorite, his most loved girl, and he saw a boy just pushing another boy a little bit, and he immediately said he's not allowed to do this, he's not allowed to do this, and he was super nervous that nothing happens to his little child. Of course, we know and understand that part, but also, you know, life is not overprotective. Life is not a helicopter state. So if you're a parent, please also know your child will make certain experience and might get pushed in life a little bit. So it's more important to help children to understand the situation than to punish them or to protect them from not having these situations. Of course, everyone is there, and it's really important that we all take care that nothing harmful or dangerous happens to any child involved, and not to the child, the aggressor, him or herself. But it's also important to understand that if there is someone who tries to bully a little bit, that it's also important to say, no, you're not bullying me. I'm here, I'm strong, this is my place, I don't move. So there's so many lessons to learn that we can't just say, don't do this, stop this. And the patience we need, especially in the age from 2 to the age of 4, 5, maybe a little bit 6, there's already a kind of a change getting in. This is a very tense period because children are really a lot focusing on social skill developing, and they're also testing their borders. They're trying to understand, to learn, how far can I go? Who allows me what? And to stop children from learning cannot be the solution, but we need to regulate it and help them. So it's a very important period where we also have to learn to keep 2 factors separate. The one is, I love you, I accept you, I respect you, you're a wonderful human being, and you're okay how you are. And number 2 is, this behavior that you showed in this moment is not okay. Separate it. When we entangle the 2, the learning is very negative for the child. It learns that I'm not okay when I do this. So what do? I can't do it differently. I'm not yet used to do it differently. And so the building up of a low self-esteem and self-skill problems start already. So disconnect these 2. Very important. So patience. So the important part. We don't learn behavior in one day, in one situation. It really takes time. And it takes sometimes half a year, sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes 8 weeks, sometimes a year. It takes time. Give time. It is normal for 2 to 4-year-old children to have a little bit of aggressiveness. it doesn't mean that we need to accept it and we shouldn't do anything. That would be absolutely the wrong thing to do in regard of the educator or the parent. We need to take them along the way and help them to come out of the spirit. It's really interesting because in my life I have these two viewpoints and perspectives. On one hand, we are having this curriculum and the very need-based curriculum for the children, and we try to really help them to increase their potential. And I'm this educator who helps parents and teachers to understand many parts with how we could deal in modern times. On the other hand, I'm an entrepreneur and a leader, CEO of a big organization. In that regard, also, I'll give leadership trainings. And just before doing this video, I completed one leadership training on the topic of meetings. And just now, you might think, what is she speaking? Why she's bringing that up? I'd like to connect these two dots for you. So we were speaking about the behavior of a leader. And the behavior of the leader needs to be an emotional, mature behavior. A leader cannot just become very emotional and say, if you don't do what I want, I punish you, or I let you go, I fire you. Or a leader cannot say to his or her boss, if you don't accept that, I'm quitting my job. You know, that's not a proper behavior. But the question is, where does it come from that we as grown-up beings sometimes have this kind of inside emotion and expression, this immature behavior? And now we connect it back to our age of 2 to 4. At that time, there was no one who guided us on how to handle a situation where we can't have something. Like we want to have this toy and we can't have it. And we want it so badly. And there was no one there who told us how to deal with this situation, with our emotions and with the other person. So we might have hit the other child and someone might have punished us and said, don't do this. But to say don't do this is not helping, because we didn't get a way how to do it. So let's go back to the adult you. Now we are these adults, but this behavior in us is like a 3-year-old child. It never got corrected, maybe. And this is why we as leaders, or also as parents, or sometimes even as workers, we might still behave in a certain way because we didn't learn it. So with our personal development, our engagement into skill training and all of that, emotional development, we grow out of that. But sometimes we have situations from our childhood we still take with us. And we are 40 years, 50 years old, and we still act like 2, 3, 4-year-old children. So to help children to understand how to handle their emotions, how to release aggression, how to communicate emotions, how to deal with situations in their daily life. It's crucial for our emotional and social development as a society and for our future. It's not just academic knowledge that makes us a good engineer. It's also the question of how emotionally and socially stable we are. So this is what is a big part of the training in the years from 2 to 6 years. So I hope this gives you a little bit of insight on the topic. You can have, of course, many different approaches, not just this one, but this one is, I think, a very productive way to deal with it. If you liked this video, don't forget to, number 1, click the like button and subscribe to the channel, because you have a lot of this information here and more is to come, and I'd like to go really deep into helping you as an educator but also as a parent to deal with difficult situations differently, but also to accept a little bit that we are all human beings as parents, as educators, and children are human beings who make mistakes and we grow up that way. If you think this can be very helpful for another person, do not forget to share. You can share this with anybody on any website. It's public knowledge. You can give it to anyone. I'm very happy if you share it and spread this information to others. And if you click the notification bell whenever we upload a video, you will be informed. So that could also be helpful for you to stay in touch with us and get further information. I also would like to inspire you and motivate you to ask questions. It's easier to create videos for parents and educators if I know what is your real stuff that you're dealing with at the present moment with the child or the children. And so I love to be interactive with you. So do not hesitate to comment or to also let us know what you're dealing with, how you handle the situation and what you are doing, and give information to other parents. I'm very much looking forward to be interactive with you, and I hope this video helped you a little bit in your process to work or to educate or to parent your children and cultivate their emotional well-being. I'm looking forward to be again with you or to interact with you on any platform. Stay connected with us. Have a good day.